We will start here momentarily. If you are viewing the show here in a couple minutes, we've got a couple of things that we're going to add to the show. We're going to, more than likely, I'm going to do something that I call quick hitters. I think I'm going to add that to the show, which is basically any and everything from sports to entertainment to media. So we're going to go along those lines and work from there. Look at any 3 sports questions of yours that you might have. So we can go from there and roll with it, baby. Steve Winwood, pretty good guy in band too, Steve Winwood. Wanna roll with it, baby, yeah, I wanna roll. Y'all young bucks and those don't even know who Steve Winwood is. Y'all have to Google him. Alrighty, guys. We got a few things we want to talk about in the sports world. We're definitely going to start. We're going to talk a little bit about today about the college football and the playoff system and how it's still flawed. Honestly, there's multiple ways that it can be fixed. You know, honestly, the undefeated team should be in the top 4. And you know, the strength of schedule, all this other hoopla, you know, you let that work, you let that itself work itself out at during the playoffs. You know, if you got 12-0 rinky-dink University against 14-0 Ding-a-ling University, going up against 2 elite clubs. You never know what'll happen. It happens a lot in the NFL. It happens a lot in professional sports, where not always the best team wins. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to look at Major League Baseball. Why is the offseason slow? Reports have come out of Major League Baseball and some of their sports writers that basically, due to analytics and stuff like that, it's a lot slower than normal. So we're going to look at that, and we're going to answer any 3 sports questions that you may have or that the big dude may have. And then again, we're going to end the show with quick hitters. Quick hitters, again, are anything from media to entertainment. We're going to leave politics out of it. Politics is for a different show. I'm not gonna get into political views and all that other hoopla there. That's for a different show. That's not for this show. And quick hitters can be anything from entertainment news to media type news. I've got something pretty for us media heads, people that have worked in media and people that deal with people that work in media. This one today is actually going to hit quite close to home for some of y'all, as Susquehanna, who was bought out by Cumulus, has some down stuff going on. So I was waiting on the big dude to rock and roll, and we can go from there. Because, we're going to do everything from sports to, desks, entertainment desks, stuff like that. Quick hitters, we're going to add a little bit of fluff to the end of the show. And then maybe talk a little bit about any movies that we had seen out there. It's something that Duran had done there for a while, and just work from there. College football and the playoff system. is it still flawed? Absolutely. You look at number one, number two. Oklahoma's number two. I believe number one is Clemson. You've got, Auburn and some other knuckleheads up there in the top four. You got Bama at five. You got one loss, Bama at five. You have Ohio State, two losses at 8, 7, somewhere there. And what we have is college football going all over the place. We're ready to rock and roll and just go from there. Have a good time, as always. So we're going to look at college football rankings right now. We're going to go into that a little bit. And work from there, as usual. So when you look at the rankings right now, the rankings have Clemson at number one, Auburn at number two, Oklahoma at three, Wisconsin at four, Alabama at five, Georgia at six, Miami at seven, Ohio State at eight, Penn State 9, USC 10, and TCU at 11. And of course, these are probably not the exact college football rankings, but you still have you still have hey buddy, hey, what's up? Not much. How you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
So far, so good. We got some good stuff to talk about, don't we?
Yeah. For you, I'm on Facebook Live, and so you guys can watch me on there. I'm on the Jimmy the K Sports Show. It's a crazy sports week. I want to say thanks to you guys that are following Jimmy and myself on our different pages and our different social medias, and for you guys that are watching the show, we most definitely appreciate it. So it's been a crazy sports week.
It has.
From the NBA to the NFL to the I haven't heard too much about Major League Baseball, and then things that are not sports related that happen that we're going to talk about. But you got to take one to make sure you find out about those. But yeah. So where do you want to start at,
I was going to start at college. Let's start at college football since we like to start at college football. We've got the latest rankings have come out. You've got Clemson, at least the rankings that I'm looking at. These may not be the actual college football rankings. Clemson at 1, Auburn 2, Oklahoma 3, Wisconsin 4, Alabama 5. Do you think Alabama deserves to be in number 5 with that one loss to Auburn and the horrific defense that they've had all season long? I mean, you and I have discussed this, and I think I've got a couple of friends of mine that are Alabama fans that have. I think 2 weeks ago I got the angry face from them during the show. But the truth of the matter is, you and I have discussed this, and we saw it with Auburn. Alabama is beatable if you can hit their defense right. Their defense is vulnerable. and Auburn proved it.
Well, yeah, it's a secondary. Their secondary is very. When we're talking about Alabama, they got this came in. I'm on Give Me the K Sports Show. We're talking about college football right now, the college ranking. Alabama, I've said all season that Alabama is beatable. Their secondary is suspect. Now you have a lot of injuries. They're really suspect. Jalen Hurts can't win a game by himself. And so with him having this time off, we'll have to see what happens. Mika Fitzpatrick, you have some other key linebackers that were injured for Alabama. So that can be a big factor in what happens from here on out. Now, do I think Alabama should be in the Final Four? I don't. But if you look at the ratings, you look at what we would call in the media, it would be called what would be called sexy. It would be sexy to have Alabama, Clemson, and OU in the national those. So it would be Clemson, Alabama, OU, Ohio State.
So you're saying Wisconsin's going to lose then? Wisconsin's sitting in that fourth spot right now. And they're undefeated on top of that.
Yeah. I see, and they got to play Ohio State, right?
I believe so.
I don't see. I don't see Wisconsin beating Ohio. I think Urban Meyer will have them ready to roll on Saturday. I know, I've looked at the teams that have played against Wisconsin, and none of the teams are in the top 5 or the top 10, other than nobody.
Michigan. They beat Michigan, I think. That was the last game.
Yeah, but Michigan's like they're not in the top. They're like in the top 20.
Right.
So for me, that really doesn't do anything for me to say that convincingly that Ohio State is that Wisconsin can beat Ohio State. I just don't see it. Now you say, okay, and everybody's like, well, they're 10-0. I understand you're 10-0, but your competition that you play, nobody in your company is in the top 20 other than Michigan.
Right.
That's it. Everybody else is not even ranked.
Okay, but that leads me to a different question now. So you've opened up these cans of this huge can of worms now. We already know that the college football playoffs are flawed, plain and simple as that. It's flawed. The playoff system is flawed, just like the BCS. We had the BCS for so long, and we knew it was flawed. They come out with this playoff system. We know it's flawed. At least the smart people do. Okay, I'm looking at the top 25 right now. I've got a 2-loss Auburn in number 2, ahead of a 12-0 Wisconsin, and a 14th ranked UCF at 11-0. When is it that we stop looking at the strength of schedules and start going by the records? Because this is where I'm getting at. You can have a 12-0, 13-0 UCF. You can have a 13-0 Dingleberry University, and they can go into the playoff system, and they can still put up huge numbers. We've seen it time and time again in the NFL. We've seen it time and time again in Major League Baseball with the wild card. We've seen it in the NFL with the wild card. And we've seen it in the NBA with the playoffs. So when is it that we're going to stop looking at basically the strength of schedule and start looking at the record? Because, the NBA, Major League Baseball, the NFL doesn't go by a strength of schedule. They go by records.
Yeah. But
honestly, personally, if it's me, you take it down to the top team in each division. You have a playoff system for those top teams, which I think there's about 6 or 7 top teams in the divisions, or 8 divisions, somewhere in there. It's 6 to 8 divisions.
Yeah.
And you have the same playoff system, but you have it with all those top teams rather than just 4 of them that the world thinks is the best. Because, for 5 years, we've thought Alabama was the best. And even coming into this year, everyone was like, Alabama's the best. But after week 1, after week 2, after week 3, watching their defense and their secondary, you and I both know that the Alabama Crimson Tide were very vulnerable, especially in their defense. So, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, it's a different way of working the system because, it's worked in Major League Baseball, it's worked in NBA, it works in the NFL. Why can't we incorporate that into college football as well?
Because it wouldn't be, for whatever reason, they think it wouldn't be profitable enough to have that kind of system because Division One, Division Two had that kind of system, and it worked just fine for them. So I don't understand why it wouldn't work for the Power Five conferences. It's just not making any sense to me. I don't know. It's like if you can do, see when they do college basketball, they do 64 teams over a matter of like a month and a half.
Yeah.
So if you can do 64 teams over a month and a half with college basketball from all over the country, why can't you do that with college football?
And honestly,
it's money involved, Jimmy.
Right.
It's all about money, Yeah.
But I understand it's all about the money, but how many times I still don't get it because I get the fact that it's all about the money, but you look at the NFL, how many top receivers, how many top quarterbacks came out of huge universities? Not every one of them come out of huge universities. Look at, I'm not going to say Tony Romo was the best quarterback, but you know what university he came out of? Somewhere out of nowhere university.
Yeah. I just don't. And you look at me and some friends of mine, we were talking the other day. A lot of the guys that are in the Hall of Fame are not from big time universities.
Yep.
Some of them are from, some of them are from smaller universities that you look at the Jerry Rice. Right now I'm watching Fox, I'm watching Shannon Sharp from Savannah State. It's a rarity. I think because these smaller schools, these guys sometimes they try to have something to prove. I feel like they maybe work a little bit harder. Not saying that the guys from the Power Five conference schools don't, but it just seems like you gotta have something to prove in order to get over the hump. And I wish that I wish that the college playoff system was different than what it is, but it's not. But we have to roll with the system as it is.
Right.
And, because I'm like, okay, why not? You're like, okay, maybe I'm 18. I'm the top 18. So right now, if we're going to have a top 18, Clemson, OU, Wisconsin, Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, the U, and Ohio State will be in. Those are all numbers, and you look at it from a financial point of view. All those have stories with them. You have the U, it's the U back. You have Georgia, and you have everything that with the story program of Georgia. You have Alabama, you have Nick Saban, and everything that comes with that. You have Auburn and Bo Jackson and Cam Newton and the Iron Bowl and Wisconsin. You have all the history with that from the coach Barry Alvarez when he was there, and OU from Stoops to and so I said to myself, but you know who I'm thinking about. From all of OU's coaches to all of the Heisman that they have, all the Heisman that they have at OU, and you think about Clemson, from Refrigerator Perry to Deshaun Watson to all those top 18s are going to draw in people. If there was a top 8 playoff, all those teams and all those story programs are going to draw. They're going to draw in that casual viewer to the TV. They're going to be like, hey, they're going to be like, oh, you got a story, Dabo Sweeney and his name, and then you got Baker Mayfield. It's all, but unfortunately, it's going to be the top 4. And it's going to be crazy this weekend because you got TCU playing OU. You have the U playing Clemson. You have Wisconsin playing Ohio State. And I'm at the hospital today, and people are asking me, like, because they see my KU hat on, and one guy, he's like, Big U, what do you think about? I was like, I'm saying TCU. I'm not saying TCU's going to win the game this weekend, but I guarantee you.
Oh, they're going to come to play.
Oh, they're coming to play. It will not be like it was last game.
I guarantee.
Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
I guarantee it won't be. Reports earlier this week. I'm pretty sure you've read this as well. That Gary Patterson got an extension to his contract. So they want to keep Gary Patterson around. And it's not always. A lot of people think, well, Oklahoma played them 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Oklahoma barrel rolled them, blah blah blah. Well, guess what? TCU's looked at the tape. TCU's looked at the tape twice. TCU has looked at the tape 3 times. And I don't care how big of an OU fan I am, they're coming out for Baker Mayfield's blood. Plain and simple as that.
Yes. And you as a person with if you know sports and you know what it's like to get your butt beat by, because I'm thinking that first game, I'm like, okay, TCU's going to go in at halftime, come out, and it's going to be on. They never found their rhythm. They just couldn't. And you think about it, okay, we men. It's on your home field, you beat our butts on national TV. Now we go to Jerry's World in Dallas
Yep.
for the inaugural for the Big 12 playoffs.
Yep. In TCU's backyard.
Yeah.
So the roles have been reversed, and you look at neutral sites. It's hilarious. They can call this a neutral site all they want, but I guarantee you, Jerry World's going to have more purple than crimson and cream. But hey,
it's going to be purple crazy. Give me just a minute, Jimmy. If you guys are just sort of following me on Facebook Live, I am calling on Jimmy the K Sports Show every
Thursday.
Every Thursday from at 8 o'clock. So right now I'm talking to Jimmy. Jimmy is in Texas right now, so we're doing a Facebook Live with Jimmy. I call into the show every week, and we talk about sports and this and that. But today, we're still going to talk about sports, but you've got to make sure you stay tuned, because at the end of the show, we're going to switch it up a little bit. We still got some sports. We're going to talk about some other things that have been going on around the world. But you gotta make sure you stay tuned for those topics. So so we're on Facebook Live, and I am on Jimmy the K Sports Show at the AllAbout SportsZone. And if you want to check us out, you can definitely look us up on YouTube. So go ahead, Jimmy.
Awesome. Oh, where were we? Oh, TCU in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And you bring that up. It's going to be played at Jerry's World. And again, like I said, as big of an OU fan as I am, I'm more of a sports fan. I know, like you said, TCU is coming out for blood. They have heard the hype of Baker Mayfield and how great Baker Mayfield is. Baker Mayfield even won Offensive Player of the Year today, I believe. One of the OU's defensive backs has won an award. They're going to get tired of hearing that, because Baker Mayfield has been nothing but noise for the last 12 weeks, and they've had enough. They lost to him in Norman, but like you brought up, it's at AT&T Stadium. It's practically in TCU's backyard. It's literally within 30 miles of TCU.
Yeah, I mean, and so when and so you guys have to follow from the beginning of football season, college football season. When I saw TCU play Oklahoma State, I was like, that's a team right there. If they put a complete game together, if their quarterback, and I'm gonna be cold about it, if he doesn't play with his head in his butt, they can do some things. They can win some games. Because I thought the TCU was the only team in the nation at that time when Alabama was number one. I thought TCU was the only team that could give Alabama a problem.
Right. You and I both agreed on that. That was definitely.
So you look at OU's weakness is their defense.
Yep. Same as Alabama. I mean.
Yeah. But as a team like TCU, Gary Patterson, when it comes to the best of the best as a defensive-minded coach, he is like one of the best of the best. He will have TCU ready. And all the mistakes they made in that game in Norman, they will not make in Dallas. It will not happen. And like you said, they're going to watch film after film after film. And I have my guys watching film to the point where you could, in your sleep, you will be dreaming about the defense you're going to play or
right.
The routes you're going to run. So, the TCU, this Saturday, I got to work 7 to 11. If you bear believe, I will be keeping up with the score. And TCU will come ready to play on Saturday. If they don't, it's their own fault. beats OU on Saturday, OU's done.
Oh yeah, they're out of the playoffs. I I guarantee you, if
TCU beats them on Saturday, they automatically, TCU automatically advances on the simple fact of they won their conference championship.
mm-hmm.
So, and I have nothing vested in any of this. You guys know me. You know I believe. You know what my stories are. So, but you have to be realistic as a OU fan and understand what your weaknesses are when it comes to playing. Because your defense is suspect. And OU, if you play a team, if OU plays a team and they have receivers that are 6'1", 6'2", 6'5", whatever, OU's gonna struggle because OU's secondary, I don't care how if they hype them up, I'm sorry, I still don't believe in them. Because when they play the upper echelon of receivers, they get exposed. When they play Baylor, they got exposed. When they play Iowa State, they got exposed. Okay? When they play Oklahoma State, and that was what 600 yards of combined with both teams, almost 1,000 yards of offense between both teams. The secondary got exposed for OU, and we'll see. And so we'll see what happens on Saturday. I don't know. The receivers for TCU are not very tall.
No.
They're quick, but they're not tall. So that's going to affect, and maybe between the last game they play and whatever, maybe if they watch them, because I know if I notice it as someone that just sits in his room watching the game, Gary Patterson has to know, okay, let's go back and look at what games OU has had problems with, what type of receiver. Maybe we can bring some of these, if you have some receivers in their on their team that are 6'2", 6'3", whatever, that are ready to play on this big show. Let's go ahead and put them in because it may be good enough for the team to win on Saturday. So it's going to be it's going to be a good game. And one of the doctors at the hospital, Dr. Rasan, his daughter is a big guy. Well, she went to TCU and he's like, Duran. He said, I paid for all that photo. I said, I know you did. He said, I'll be wearing some. I said, hey, he said, what do you think? I said, it's going to be a good game. It's going to go down. I predict if Hill as a quarterback can play with some sort of common sense or whatever, I predict a high-scoring game possibly in the 50s, somewhere around there. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you bring up Kenny Hill, and then we'll move on to the NFL because I got a question to ask you. You bring up Kenny Hill though. Everyone talks about Baker Mayfield and how Texas Tech threw him under the bus and all the other hoopla. But people don't realize Kenny Hill. The same thing happened to him at Texas A&M. So he's a transfer himself, and the kid, the kid's out for blood. He's got more of a chip on his shoulder than what Baker Mayfield has because he's out to prove something.
He's got a big chip on his shoulder.
All righty, let's switch to the NFL, and then we'll come back to the college football a little bit because there's going to be a hiring in Texas A&M that I think a lot of people already know about. But, I got a question for you. You're a New York Giants fan, correct?
I got a lot of switch to the NFL. If you guys have any NFL teams, we're about to talk about NFL right now. Yes, I was not happy about it. So you better ask me a question.
Okay, so what's your thoughts on Eli Manning being benched for Geno Smith? Thoughts on that?
I look at Geno's stats. Um, it's basically, I'm not understanding because Geno's stats are not warranting him being a starting QB. And now, I can say if you're going to try and bring along the rookie guy to see what he can do, I can understand that. With Geno Smith, so Geno Smith passer rating for 2017-2016, guess what his passer rating was, Jimmy?
I give up.
39.
Oh wow.
39. Yes. So that means he may throw 10 passes. Out of the 10 passes that he's throwing, maybe only 3 or 4 are connecting with the receiver. Yeah, and his passer rating was 39 for 2016-2017. While he's been in the NFL, he's thrown 28 touchdowns, 36 interceptions. And I just don't. I wasn't happy about it. I know Eli has had a bad season. Maybe it's time for Eli. Maybe he needs a change of pace. Maybe he needs to go to another team. But you know what? The offensive line that he has, listen, Eli has been getting rid of all season. And I wasn't happy with it. I needed to see him, did you watch his press conference?
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, and that was the first time since he's come out of the university, since he's come out of Mississippi, come out of Ole Miss. That's the first time I've ever seen Eli cry like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, and these weren't some fake.
Oh yeah, I saw his conference. Yeah. Yes.
These weren't some fake Baker Mayfield tears. These are real tears, real emotion. And so I don't know. And I'm hoping McAdoo is gone after this season because he's straight garbage. He's a garbage and some garbage that's been left out in the sun all day, 110 sun.
Okay. Well, if he's done, if McAdoo's done, what do you think about their defensive coach Steve Spagnuolo taking over? I mean, do you think he'd be a good coach?
Didn't he try head coaching in Detroit?
Possibly, yeah.
And I don't think so. Jimmy, and it's kind of like I was saying, when Tom Coughlin left New York, people were like, McAdoo, he was Eli's quarterback coach. Listen, everybody is not meant to be a leader. They're not. Some people are meant to be followers, some people are just meant just to lead. But this guy, and then it's just, so, because the decisions you make are not good for the team, and I think he's going to be gone after the season. I wouldn't keep him, and I would get rid of the general manager too, because you didn't do anything in the offseason to help Eli at all. Nothing. So I would get rid of him and McAdoo and Clint out. You think you had all these injuries this year. You had Odell Beckham out. You had Brandon Marshall come in. I don't know what that was. And he was an artist. It was like he was an artist formerly known as Brandon Marshall from 5 years ago. I know he suffers from multiple personalities, and I don't know what personality was showing up in in New York, but it did not show up. What's the guy that came out of OU?
Sterling Shepard.
Sterling Shepard hasn't been on point. I mean, yeah. So nobody, and the thing about it, and the crazy thing about it is that the quarterback has to take responsibility for all this crap. Nobody, it's like, your offensive line sucks, your defense sucks, your coaching sucks. The general manager didn't put anybody around you in the offseason that was going to help you out. So now Eli's got to take the blame and take the, and, it's, so I'm hoping McAdoo was gone after this season. But it's kind of sucky because people say, you know what? You're the face of the organization, you're paying all this money, so forth and so on. But what about holding other people accountable? What about holding the defense accountable? They're not, So therefore, Eli, and so you look at the possible teams that Eli could go to. Your team in Denver, possibility. Jacksonville Jaguar, he could go team out. He could go back and team with Tom Coughlin. Not Minnesota. No Minnesota. But there's I see if he is to leave, and Arizona, because Bruce Arians was his brother's quarterback coach when he was in Indianapolis. So, Arizona, Denver, and Jacksonville. If he is to not come back after this season. If he does come back after the season, I'm hoping they clean house and get him some help. Because as you get hit so many times, you get a little gun shy in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But as far as Gino, Gino's stats, to me, his stats are not showing me that he should be starting in the NFL. Your passer rating is 39. In 2016, you threw for 126 yards, one touchdown in 2 games and 14 attempts. Yeah. It just, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Geno Smith, and the thing about it, if Geno was that good, then that's when they got rid of him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
People don't understand why people get traded. People get traded because either you're no longer valuable to the team that you're on, or you have become total garbage, and they want to, So, and that's why people get, and so people, So that's why he got traded. He was no longer, he played in the system of West Virginia that made him look like he was like the second coming of Tom Brady. And then when he got to the NFL, it was like, hold on a minute. You're not that good. You look like you were that good, but you're not that good. So, and he became you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
He was a Tim Tebow. Hey, everyone thought he was Tom Brady when really he was Tim Tebow.
You know what? I like Tim Tebow.
Oh, yeah.
Tim Tebow was efficient. He got you yards, and you knew with Tim Tebow every game he's gonna give you 100%.
Definitely.
Well, he's gonna give you hoes.
Yeah.
He's gonna give you the 10 Super Bowl phones, and then he's gonna go about his business. I say this, I know I don't want to get off. Tim Tebow, if he was, how tall was Tim Tebow? Was he 6'1", 6'2", maybe?
think he's 6'2". Between 6'2" and 6'4".
If Tim Tebow was to swallow his pride and not want to play quarterback, he'd be a hell of a tight end.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he'd be a hell of a tight end, man. I mean, yeah. So, yeah. So for you guys that just came in, I am on the Jimmy the K Sports Show live at the AllAbout SportsZone. You can follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow Jimmy on Jimmy the K. So, all right, Jimmy, just letting everybody know what's going on.
All right. Yeah, exactly. You're plugging the show. I like that. Let's jump back to college football real quick. I don't want to take too much time on this because I want to talk a little bit about Major League Baseball and then wrap up the show. But reports are coming out of Texas A&M that they are very close, within hours supposedly, of hiring a new head coach. Do you happen to know who that head coach in Texas A&M will be?
I do not, but I think you're right to tell me.
Jimbo Fisher, and supposedly they are going to make him the richest head coach in all of college football.
He said, and now I read something, he said he was going to stay at FSU.
Wow.
So, let me, hold on a minute, I thought he said he was going to stay at FSU. Yeah.
Well, we all know Herm Edwards is taking the Arizona State job, don't we?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And what do you think about Herm Edwards going to be in Arizona as a head college coach?
You know, he was a good analyst, and he'll be a good coach. Don't get me wrong. But I think his age is probably going to end up catching up to him. He'll probably end up dying on the field. I'm sorry.
But you know, listen, he's in pretty good shape, though, man. He's in pretty good shape. I mean, he works out every day. Every day he works out. Okay, we're going to go back. It says report Florida expects Jimbo Fisher to leave for Texas A&M. Okay, so he possibly is going to leave and go to Texas A&M. So, man, that's going to change the college, you know.
That's going to change the SEC, period.
They're going to change the SEC big time. As far as Herm Edwards coaching in Arizona, you know what? I don't know what to say now because I've already seen Coach Pro with the Jets, the Kansas City Chiefs. He played for the Eagles. I think he might have played for the Pittsburgh Steelers too. I'm not sure though. But as far as coaching, he coached the Jets and the Chiefs. And Herm Edwards will always be known for this. We play to win the game. So, I don't know what will happen to him. I don't know. Is Herm going to be? Is he going to be able to relate to this younger generation?
Yeah, that's what worries me about that.
That's the thing that worries me the most. It's kind of, I was watching something about Coach K was on TV. Coach K, guys, you know Coach K is that Mike Krzyzewski that coaches at Duke University. They call him Coach K, but to say Mike Krzyzewski all the time would be totally, it would just be, yeah. So, but Coach K even said, you know, even at 70, I had to learn how, he said, I had to still be a coach, but I had to learn how to relate to this younger generation. Still be their coach, still be their mentor, but also relate to them and what they go through at this time in 2017 for recruiting and just on an everyday basis. And so you talk about Herb Edwards going to Arizona. Is he going to be able to relate to these young guys coming from all parts of wherever? You most definitely, you have, I think being a football coach, you have to have an open mind because you're going to get all these personalities coming from, and Herb Edwards is old school. I don't know if his old school ways and personality are going to gel with with 2017. The only time will tell though. But I hope we don't have a heart attack on the field. That'd be morbid in all kind of ways. That'd be but I don't, you know, I don't know him. Like I said, with him being old school, you're gonna have to maybe kind of loosen up a little bit and try to relate to these young men that are coming from small towns to big towns to from white to black to Hispanic, and ASU gets a lot of guys from Hawaii and from the, you know what I mean, Jimmy? So,
Right.
yeah, ASU gets a lot of, they don't get a, they get, you know, they don't get a whole lot from the East Coast and West, from the East Coast and the Midwest, you know, so, but I would like to see him succeed as someone that likes to see people prosper and succeed, and you know, I mean, he's failed. I won't say he's failed as a pro coach, but you just, you know, we're not, like I said, we'll have to wait and see what happens next week. I was totally surprised when I heard about it. I was like, okay, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens, you know. So, yeah.
Definitely something we'll have to wait and see for. Switching to MLB news, I've got a couple of things I want to talk about really, really fast. Then we're going to wrap up the show with something we call quick hitters. Basically, for those of y'all that don't know what quick hitters are anything that's unrelated to sports. It can be media, it can be entertainment. However, the one thing I want to keep away from is politics. So I'm going to try keeping the quick hitters away from politics, unless it pertains to sports. If it pertains to sports, then we'll jump right in. But the couple of baseball news that I definitely want to talk about.
Hey, Jimmy, let me relate to the viewers that are watching me on Facebook Live.
Okay.
They know what's going on right now. So we're going to start something this newsletter. We're going to do something called quick hitters at the end of the show. It will not be sports related. It will not be politics. So we will most definitely stay away from politics, but it will be about entertainment. So no politics, and it won't be about sports, but we have something new called quick hitters, and we're going to start that today, and it'll be starting at the end of the show. We're about to jump into Major League Baseball with Jimmy the K. That's his love. So take it away, Jimmy.
All right. Just a couple of notes here and there. The Texas Rangers yesterday signed Doug Fister to, I believe, it was 3.2 or 3.8 million. It was somewhere in the millions of dollars with a club option for 2019. A lot of people kind of are a little antsy about them signing Doug Fister. However, he has a 49% ground ball rating. That's almost half of the balls that are hit are ground balls. Also on the open market is international superstar, Japanese Babe Ruth. I hope I don't butcher his name. Shohei Ohtani.
Is he that two-way player that come out of Japan, Jimmy, that plays offense and he plays?
Yes.
Okay, I know you're talking about. Yeah, that kid is good. I remember earlier this past summer watching something about he was on ESPN and And
Yes.
he can hit. He's not just one of these Major League Baseball players that goes up there and swings or whatever. He can actually hit the ball really good. So yeah.
Right. There's reports out of almost every major league club that are going after him. The two richest clubs that can actually offer him the most are the Texas Rangers, and I believe the New York Yankees are second when it comes to international signing bonuses. The team with the least amount is actually the Oakland Athletics, and it doesn't look like they're going to sign him. Uh, Oakland's got too many other things on their plate to worry about signing him. Um, Also, for those of y'all that don't know, the offseason has kind of been quiet. Even with the GM meetings last week or the week before, that we thought things would start getting rolling. We thought Giancarlo Stanton would be traded at least by the winter meeting starting next week, but he hasn't been. Reports out of Florida are that Derek Jeter and the ownership group have given him an ultimatum. You're either going to take a deal, otherwise we're going to take one for you. Um, the biggest report is that the St. Louis Cardinals are going after him. However, he wants to play for the Los Angeles Dodgers. It doesn't look like the Dodgers are making a huge run after him. Other than that, it has been slow. A lot of reports have out of general managers' offices are that because baseball is more of an analytical and statistical sport now, a lot of people aren't necessarily just going after the highest paid or the best player that there is. They're looking more at the analytics and the statistical mathematical equation of it. Yes, try saying that fast 3 times. Um, so that's somewhat of your major league news. I'll keep you more and more abreast as definitely next week as things start rolling. But we're towards the end of the show. I want to start with one of my quick hitters, and one of my quick hitters is for us media heads, and for all that aren't media heads. I want to give props to my good buddy, radio friend Andy Waldrop down in the Houston area for this news story. Cumulus radio files for Chapter 11. Do you know what that means?
No.
Well, Chapter 13 means the company's going kaput. That means it's going bye-bye. Chapter 11 means that they're trying to sell off assets of the company. Cumulus, remember, I believe a decade ago was Susquehanna. And how do I know that? Because my dad has done work for The Wolf and KLIF, KPLX, those radio stations that were once Susquehanna, now are part of Cumulus. And now Cumulus is, again, filed for Chapter 11, meaning that they're going to have to sell off their assets. What does that mean? That probably means that a lot of your smaller market, lower rated radio stations are going to end up either getting bought or they're going to end up having their doors closed. So that's quick hitter number one. Quick hitter number two, if y'all haven't already seen it today, any of y'all watched the Gomer Pyle show, maybe the Andy Griffith show, our good buddy Jim Neighbors has passed away. So I'm pretty sure your antenna TV and your decades will have a long-lasting marathon of Andy Griffith or Gomer Pyle. But our thoughts and prayer go out to the Gomer Pyle family, and dare I say, well, golly, Sarge.
Yeah, I know, right? Andy, you know what? When I saw that, because I watched all 8 years of I watched all 8 years of Andy Griffith. Loved it. And I was watching when he was on when he was the Gold Powell show.
Uh-huh.
And then I saw it and I was like, hey, but you know what? If you like music, if you like a good classic man, his voice, and for you guys, I don't care what you say, his voice is beautiful. Man, his voice is beautiful. So now, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. I just, um, I mean, it just, I just couldn't believe it. It's like, you had Della Reese last week, and you had, was it Marcellus last week, too, I think it was. And it was just all these people that we grew up with, from Della Reese to Marcellus to Gomer Powell, all, yeah, all gone. It just,
I
I
know.
appreciate, yeah.
And I bring up Gomer Pyle, but I'll tell you something. I'm going to give away my age here on the show, so please don't go tell everybody how old I am. I'm 38 years old. Okay, I don't look 38, but I'm 38. At least that's what I tell myself when I look in the mirror. But one of my favorite shows growing up all time, and I'll tell you, I didn't really start liking this show until probably about a decade ago, but I bought the box set, is The Honeymooners with I'm trying to think of the guy's name.
Jackie Gleason.
Yeah, Jackie Gleason. Yes, Uh, that's one of my. I literally, it's not that the show is boring, but I literally can turn that show on and fall asleep.
Yes.
But yes, that's one of my all-time favorite shows, and you wouldn't think that coming from somebody that's only 38 years old. I didn't grow up in that area, but I know my parents did. Shh, I didn't tell you that. Um, but you know, shows like that. I Love Lucy. What's the other ones that were?
See, you know what? I started watching the Rifleman.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Gunsmoke, all those, classics.
All those shows, yeah.
Yeah. So do you have any quick hitters for us? Any
Not tonight. I didn't. But I will definitely have some next. I'll have some next week. I didn't come prepared for quick hitters tonight, so I didn't even.
Yeah, I kind of sprung it on you at the last minute. Honestly, I literally, it is my fault. I'll take props for that. Because I literally texted you right after I told Jessica, because I was like, I've got to add something to incorporate to the show, kind of smooth it out, kind of give us a feel good transition into the next weekend. And then I texted you right after I told her that. So, but yeah, it'll definitely be something to keep in mind. And again, I'm Jimmy the K. You can check me out on my pages, any of my pages. You can go to Facebook and like my page personally, Jimmy Kersey, or go to AllAbout SportsZone page, where if you're a fan of the show, just go there, like it. You can go to Twitter at Jimmy Kersey1. You can also email me, allaboutsportszone at gmail.com. You can go to our website, which is the Wix website, which is www.screamerproduction, don't put the S in it, .wix.com. And there's a tab up there for you to ask questions, to send your sports pictures into us for that. And shoot, I know I'm also looking at other avenues of possibly doing face to face. If I could figure out this Skype thing or something, FaceTime, then we could definitely do this back and forth, and it would actually it would have a little bit more meaning than just over the phone. Not saying that this doesn't have meaning, but it works for now. Um, but like the big dude said, we definitely appreciate you joining the show. Stay tuned next Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time. That's 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, and I believe 7 o'clock Mountain Time. Yes, I've got all the time zones in there. So again, thank you so much. And until next week, I'm Jimmy the K, and you can follow also the Big Do on Crossover Radio. Go to their app, the Crossover Radio app. You can go to any of your Play stores, look up Crossover Radio, follow him and the sports show from 6 to 8. I totally forgot the name of that show. It's on the top of my head, and I lost it, so I'll let him tell you about it.
3-4-7. You guys can follow us. Go and follow us on Crossover Radio. The show is a 3D sports show, and we're going to be at a new location that we started at Papa Angelo's Pizza in Bethany, Oklahoma. So if you happen to travel to Oklahoma and you're visiting, or if you're in Oklahoma and you're just out and about, go to Papa Angelo's there at Bethany, Oklahoma. Great food, the pizza, I had pizza, they have huge slices. The location is great, the atmosphere is great, the people are great. So you can follow the 3D Sports Show on Crossover Radio. Like Jimmy said, you can follow us on iTunes, Google Play Store, and our Facebook page. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at The Big Do Show. And that's how we, and eventually, I'm going to make it to Texas. And when I make it there, we're going to do a show together. And and it'll be great. So, but thanks to you guys that follow us, listen to us, follow us on our different social medias. And we will let you know that we will definitely appreciate you watching and listening to us and tuning in every week. So, but this is the Jimmy the K Sports Show live, and it's live on Facebook and calling in. And like I said, we'll figure out ways to do things better